If you lived in our town long enough, chances are you rode in his old green van at least once. It rattled like a toolbox on wheels. But Wally? He could drive that thing anywhere, up wet hills, through gravel shortcuts, even down muddy roads that made other drivers turn around. Somehow it was always full. 6, 7 passengers if folks didn't mind squeezing in. He never said no. He was the guy you could call when it was raining and you didn't want to walk. That's why when he didn't come home one night, it didn't cause panic right away. His wife, Mary, figured he'd stayed with a friend, maybe got a last-minute fare and crashed on someone's couch. He'd done that before. But the next morning came and he still wasn't back. They found him just after sunrise, lying on the side of a back road, not far from the edge of the woods, still breathing, no bruises, no signs of a crash. Just there, like someone had gently placed him down and left. They rushed him to the hospital. He was unconscious but stable. The doctors ran tests, CT scans, blood work, the whole list. Nothing came back abnormal. His heart was fine. No sign of a stroke or seizure. But Wally wasn't waking up. 3 days passed, then 5. On the 6th day, he opened his eyes. Mary cried. She said she knew he'd come back. But he didn't speak, not right away. He sat up. He chewed food when they gave it to him. He even walked with a little help. But it was like he wasn't home in his own head. He'd stare out the window for hours, blinking, silent. His face was blank. Not scared, not confused. Just empty. Mary started taking him to different kinds of healers. Church folks, spiritual workers, even an old man who lit candles and whispered over bowls of ash. Every single one said the same thing. We don't see anything in him. Only darkness. Not evil. Just empty. Mary said she felt like she was living with a ghost. It was morning. Mary was buttering toast when he shuffled into the kitchen, rubbed his eyes and said, "Can I get some cocoa?" She froze. His voice sounded normal. Tired, maybe. But it was him. Later that day, once he was more alert, he told her what he remembered. I was out on a run late, just about to turn in for the night when I saw 3 people standing by the road waving me down. They didn't say much, just got in. He said at first he didn't get a good look at them. Fogged windows, dim light. But as they drove, he kept glancing at the rear view. One of them had horns, curled like a ram. Another had this long face, too long, like a horse. The third, their face was kind of a blur, but there was a beak. I remember that much. They were wearing normal clothes, jeans, hoodies. One had a baseball cap on, but they were heavy. Wally said that was the part that didn't make sense. The van felt like it was dragging itself through something thick. He pressed the gas, but the wheels slipped like they were caught in deep mud. I kept driving. I didn't know where I was anymore. I just remember feeling like I had to keep going. Then everything faded. The van, the road, even the air around him. He said he started praying, hard, not out loud, just in his head. That's when he woke up in the hospital. Mary wasn't the type to let a story sit. After Wally told her about the 3 passengers, she walked over to the local grocery, same one where drivers sometimes parked for a break. The owner, Ray, was standing out front, as always. She asked him if he saw Wally that night. Ray nodded. He pulled up around 10, said he was going to catch a nap. She asked if anything strange happened. Ray scratched his head. Well, yeah. Around midnight, I came outside to lock up and saw him getting back on his old dirt bike. Mary frowned. Wally hasn't ridden that thing in years. Ray nodded. I know. But that night he did. Just started it up like nothing happened, drove off. Mary asked if he was alone. Ray's face changed a little. He looked down. No, he said. There were 3 people with him. Or something like people. I couldn't really see their faces. Just dark shapes. They moved strange. Too quiet. Mary didn't say anything for a while after that. Just thanked him and walked home slowly, holding her sweater tight around her. Wally got better. Not overnight, but day by day. He stopped staring out the window so much. Started fixing things around the house again. Eventually, he sold the van. He said he was done driving for good. I asked him about it once when we were sitting on the porch a few months later. He just sipped his coffee and stared out toward the trees. "I gave something a ride that night," he said. "I don't think they meant me harm exactly, but they didn't belong here, and I think they were looking for a way back." He never said more than that. Now, Wally works part-time at a feed store. He likes being around animals, says they're simple, honest. But Mary told me that when it rains hard and the roads outside turn to soft mud, Wally doesn't sleep much. He'll get up, make himself cocoa, and sit by the window until morning, just watching, listening. This is my personal experience the first time I visited my girlfriend Emily's house. We met in college. She's from Asheville, North Carolina. I'm from a small town in Oregon. The house was an old Southern-style home, stone foundation, sturdy wooden upper floors, with antique glass-paned windows. 8 rooms in total. I stayed in one of the guest rooms on the ground floor for 2 days. The house was old but well-maintained, with updated modern appliances. To be honest, I felt out of place. Emily's family was clearly wealthy and respected in Asheville, while I was just a regular guy from the Northwest. That first night, aside from feeling out of place, something kept me from falling asleep. Around midnight, I heard a noise, scratching against wood, like something gnawing or slowly carving into it. I jolted upright in bed, thinking maybe it was a rat. But the moment I sat up, the sound stopped. Maybe it got scared off. I laid back down, but a few minutes later, the same noise started again. I moved slowly, trying not to scare whatever it was. I leaned over to check under the bed, but before I could get a good look, the sound stopped again. I gave up and grabbed my phone to read an ebook. That scratching lasted all night. I didn't sleep at all. It only stopped around 5 a.m. When I talked to Emily and her family over breakfast, I just said I hadn't slept well, not used to the place. But I did mention the sound, maybe a rat. Emily's dad suggested I move to a different room just to be safe. They didn't want my stuff getting chewed up. So I moved. That morning I checked under the bed, no signs of gnawing or damage. I was confused, but I brushed it off and settled into the new room. What happened next was even worse. That night, just after midnight, I was finally feeling sleepy from the night before. Then it came again, that same scratching sound. This time I ignored it. I kept my eyes shut, refusing to react. Then, I heard the sound of tiny footsteps on wood, which was weird. The floor in that room was cement, and I was on the ground floor. Suddenly, the foot of my bed sank as if someone had climbed onto it. My eyes flew open, and in the same instant, a burning pain ripped through my left leg. Something had scratched me. Any hint of sleep disappeared. Fear took over. I screamed. When I looked down at my leg, there were 3 deep red claw marks. Emily and her mom came rushing in. When her mom saw the scratches, they took me to the hospital. We stayed there until morning. I finally passed out in the ER from exhaustion. When I woke up, my things were already at the hospital. Emily's parents had sent them. That's when Emily confessed. They believed something lived in their house, some kind of entity. Her family often saw something running around, low to the ground, like a large dog, but never clearly. Her parents believed it was a black shuck, a mythical creature their great-grandparents were rumored to have bound generations ago. They said it had brought them luck, wealth, but sometimes their chickens would be found torn open, scratched up, dead. This was the first time it had attacked a person. They asked me, kindly but firmly, to leave. They were scared something worse would happen if I stayed. I've never forgotten that experience. Even after Emily and I returned to Boston, things were never the same. Eventually, it became one of the reasons we broke up. I'm in my 30s now, working in construction with a wife and 2 kids. Life's good, but every now and then, I think back to something that happened when I was a kid. Something that still doesn't make sense. I was around 7 years old when our house burned down. We lost almost everything. My parents decided to move to a quieter area. We settled into a new home far from the city. Because of the distance, I had to transfer schools. That was hard enough. But the biggest change? I finally got my own room. My mom said, "You're a big boy now. It's time to sleep on your own." That first week was tough. I'd toss and turn at night, too anxious to fall asleep in that unfamiliar space. To kill time, I'd read comic books under my blanket, with a flashlight. It became my nightly routine. One night, something strange happened. I was halfway through a comic when I heard it, the creak of my bedroom window opening. My heart jumped. I froze. Then, a girl climbed in. She looked about my age, long black hair, a white tank top, red shorts. She had a big, gap-toothed smile, like she wasn't afraid of anything. I sat up and asked, "Who are you?" She answered simply, "I just want to play." I was confused, sure, but I was also a lonely kid in a new place, so I let her stay. She picked up my drawings, flipped through my comics, and told me she liked reading too. Her name was Sandy. She said she lived nearby. From that night on, she visited me almost every evening. She'd crawl in through the window and we'd talk, read, or draw. Then, just before I'd fall asleep, she'd smile and say, "I have to go now. I'll be back tomorrow." For about a month, Sandy became my best friend. At school, I'd daydream about her. At night, I'd rush to bed early, just to see her again. I think she might have been my first crush. We shared everything, my comics, my drawings, even secrets. Lying side by side on my bed, we'd whisper about imaginary adventures and make plans for what we'd read next. But there was something strange about Sandy. She was always warm. Not just warm like a regular person, hot, like standing next to a stove. I never really questioned it. I just thought it was part of who she was. Then, one night, everything changed. We were reading together like always when Sandy suddenly stood up. Her smile was sad this time. "I have to go," she said softly. "For good. My family's moving far away." I sat up, confused. "Can't you stay just one more night?" She shook her head and held out her hand. "Come with me. I want to show you something." Hand in hand, we climbed out my window and walked toward the woods near our house. The night was pitch black, but Sandy glowed. A soft, golden light came from her skin, like she had a candle inside her. As we moved deeper into the woods, I saw something I'll never forget. In the distance were two floating orbs of fire, each about the size of a basketball. They shimmered with flickering faces inside, like ghosts made of flame. We stopped near the orbs. Sandy turned to me, her eyes glowing now too. "Thank you," she whispered, "for being my friend." Then she hugged me and her body began to change. Right before my eyes, she turned into light. Her form shimmered, flared, and rose into the air, joining the other fireballs. The three of them floated upward, then disappeared into the night. I stood there, stunned and alone in the dark. I eventually found my way back to the house, but I couldn't sleep after that. I didn't understand what I'd seen, or who Sandy really was. Years later, I read about something called fireballs, supernatural spirits said to appear in the form of floating flames, sometimes tied to the souls of the departed. That's when I realized Sandy wasn't human. Thank you to everyone who listened to my story. If you like this, don't forget to like and subscribe.